Welcome to Duality Gamecast. Today's episode, Dead of Winter.
Welcome to Duality Gamecast. I'm Matt.
I'm Dylan.
And I'm William. Today we're taking a look at Dead of Winter. Alright, to set up Dead of Winter, first of course you need to lay out the board, put out the 6 locations. Each location has its own decks, you need to separate those out, shuffle them up, and put them in each of their sections here. Then each player is dealt 4 character cards. They pick 2 they like, put them by their player board. Then the player with the highest overall rating up here in the upper right-hand corner gets the first player marker, stab, stab. Then we're going to pick the main objective. In this case, we need more samples. This one tells us what our starting round and morale is going to be, and tells us our overall goal for the game. In this case, we want to collect 3 samples from zombies per number of players in the game. Every time we kill a zombie this game, we roll dice, there's a chance we collect a sample. Then we move on to gameplay. Each round is broken into 2 phases, the player phase and the colony phase. So the first thing you do in the player phase is you reveal the crisis for the round. In this case, we're revealing a fuel shortage. At the end of this round, we have to have another fuel canisters in here equal to the number of players, or we lose some morale. So that's going to be our goal for the round on top of our standard goal that we have for the whole game. Then we roll dice. You roll 1 dice plus 1 dice for each character in your group. I have 2 characters, I'm going to roll 3 dice for the round. Oh, those are low. That's not so good. Then we go on to the individual player's turn, starting with the character with the knife. So at the beginning of the player's turn, the player to the right is going to draw a crossroads card. These have a ton of text on them. They say a lot of stuff. But the key thing is the very first sentence on them says when the card would activate if it does at all. These cards then usually tell you a little story and give you some options you get to pick from if they activate. Sometimes they don't activate for 3 or 4 turns. Sometimes every turn a crossroads card is going off. After that player reads that secret to themselves and pays attention to the game state of the board, the player gets to go. So let's see. I have 3 dice. Means I can take 3 dice actions and any number of other types of actions. Dice actions in the game are things like attacking zombies, searching locations, building barricades, cleaning waste from the area, or attracting zombies to your location. Things that don't require dice, you can basically do almost any number of times, or as you will. Let's play a card from your hand. Add a card to the crisis, which is done face down and secretly. You can move your survivor to a new location. You can request stuff from other people in your area, gear or something along those lines, and you can vote to exile people. In the game, when we're set up, everyone's dealt a secret objective, and so it's possible that you're some type of traitor that's trying to actually tank the game for everybody else, but everybody has some type of goal that's only theirs. And even if you manage to complete the main objective, if you don't complete yours, you still lose. In this case, mine is, I'm a junkie. I have to have 3 drug cards in my hand at the end of the game, or I lose even if we succeed with everything else. So let's just do a couple actions here to see how the game works. So we need fuel. So Thomas here is going to go to the gas station. Whenever you move or fight a zombie, you have to roll the exposure dice. Pretty simple. It's a 12-sided dice. I think we all know how to roll those. Let's see. Not so good. Basically, the dice has 4 sides to it. It has this side right here, which wounds you. Take 3 wounds and you're dead. This side right here, which is a little snowflake, that's frostbite. It acts like a wound that gives you an additional wound for each following round that you still have it. Then there is the tooth. That one's bad. You've been bitten, your character dies, there's a chance it spreads to other people in your area. And then, of course, the one you always want is the blank. That one's great because, well, nothing bad happens, and nothing bad happening is about the best thing that could happen to you in this game. After you get to an area, you're allowed to fight zombies there and search the location. So to fight a zombie, all you have to do is look at your character here. He has a 1 combat and a 3 search. So all you have to do is spin a dice that is higher than their combat, and you kill a zombie. That was pretty easy. But what happens is, as I said before, every time you fight a zombie, you're going to be rolling the dice. Whew, a blank. That's good. That's good. So I've cleared the area of zombies. Now I want to search. I have a search value of 3. I have a 2 and a 3 here, so I can't use the 2 to search, but I can use this 3. So when you search, basically you take the top card off the deck and you get a look at it and keep it. Or you can choose to add noise markers, banging around looking for more things to draw more cards. But you still only keep 1. So in this case, I'm going to draw 2. They're both fuel. Well, we need 1 of these at least. So I'll put 1 in my hand here. The other one goes on the bottom of the deck. I still have a 2 left. I don't really see a lot of good stuff to do there, so I'll build a barricade over here to protect against future zombie attacks with my last dice. And then finally, I'm going to add some cards to the crisis. I'm going to add that fuel I had earlier, along with a couple other cards. Let's see. Yeah, I have a couple more fuel cards here. And we also need food at the end of each round. So I'm going to use this food card to add a food token here to the food supply. You need one for every 2 people that's basically in the colony at the end of the round. Then you pass play to the player on the left, draw a new crossroads card for them, keep going until the round is over. Okay, the second part of each round is the colony phase. The first thing you have to do in the colony phase is pay food. Basically, for every 2 survivors, either actual useful active survivors or these useless ones out here that don't do anything, you have to pay a food. We have 6 survivors, need 3 food, that's exactly what we got. Perfect. If you don't have enough food, instead of paying food, you get a starvation marker, lose a morale, equal to the number of starvation markers on there when that happens. After you pay food, you check waste. Cards you play throughout the round are going to pile up here. For every 10 you have there, you lose 1 morale. Again, if morale reaches 0, you lose, so they don't like living in trash. Next, we resolve the crisis. Okay, this is the big one. Each round with these crises, we need 3 fuel cards to play a 3-player game. There is 4 cards here, so more than likely we got it. Let's reveal. Junk, okay. Medicine, that's not fuel. And the 2 fuel that I added earlier. All right, we have a traitor somewhere in the game. You can see they messed up the team. They added cards to make it look like they were helping, but they actually didn't. That's why this is all done face down. So we failed, so we lose 2 morale. Woo! All right, now we add zombies. Each region you add zombies to equal number of characters there, plus in the exterior regions here, the number of noise markers. So we add 6 zombies to the colony and 2 zombies here. There's 1 guy here and a noise marker. Well, the problem with this area is 1, 2, there's not an extra spot here for the zombie, so it overflows and kills whoever's there. So you always have to make sure you have enough space for zombies to come when you're dealing around, or you will lose a character. Whenever you lose a character, you also lose a morale. And now I'm going to be rolling only 2 dice instead of 3 next round, which is not cool. Things are not going well. Then we move on. Let's check the main objective. We haven't collected enough zombie bits yet. We needed 9. We have 0. So we haven't completed the main objective yet for the round. We move the round tracker down 1. 5 rounds left to go. Stab the knife in your friend to the left, and begin the next round.
Dead of Winter, a zombie-themed, semi-cooperative game from Plaid Hat Games. William, talk to us about the gameplay.
It's deadly. I don't think we've managed to beat this on any level yet, with all the games we played.
Nope.
It's harsh, but it's easy to understand and follow. I know when we were going in, I was turning to the game explanation. I'm like, wow, there's a lot more explanation here than how complicated the game itself is to actually play. On your turn, you're spinning your dice to do a couple actions. You're running around the board, trying not to get eaten. The big thing is this dice right here. There's a chance, small chance, 1 in 12, but there's a chance your character just dies instantly every time you try to do something, which adds a lot of, makes it feel like a really bad situation on you. This isn't like Resident Evil, you're going out just killing infinite zombies being awesome. This is, okay, I'm going to go fight this zombie. I better be prepared and ready to do this. And it just has this darkness to it that I haven't felt a lot of zombie games. They use the zombies basically as like fodder or something you plow through, or there's some type of abstract thing, or it's just a horde that overwhelms you instantly. And there's not. This has like every action you do has like a repercussion to it, and you can see it coming. You're not like, oh, what, I did that. I wonder what's going to happen. You're like, okay, if I go here, I'm going to attract some zombies. We really need some fuel for the round. Okay, I can look a little bit, but if I make too much noise, like you can kind of, I won't say math it out, but you can kind of plan out. You know you're never going to get overrun by accident. The big randomness of what can just kill you is just actually taking the action has a chance to just kill you. Is where all the randomness is. Otherwise, you can play it safe. You really are like you're counting your pennies kind of in this game. You're like, okay, I can go here and I can look for one thing. No, don't come over and help because there'll be too many of us and all the zombies will attack. It just has this cool kind of effect to it. And the crossroad cards too add another level to this. It's something that it's hard at first to wrap your brain around because you look at it and you're like, oh man, this is like a wall of text. You realize, okay, wait. I just read this first line. It says, if the active player ever moves to the gas station. Okay, that's all you got to pay attention to. And you're just waiting. The other player's just sitting there waiting. Come on. We'll see what happens. You go there. It adds a lot of story to it, which is cool because a lot of these types of games, there's like an opening lead-in story. You play the whole game, and at the end you read like the success or failure thing. This one, as you're playing, you'll move somewhere and it'll be like, oh, old Hank the barkeep shows up, and he has a question for you. You know, do you knock him out and take his gun, or do you help him out and give him the candy bar you have in your pocket? Like, it has stuff like that in it, which is kind of cool and kind of adds a story level to this that I wasn't expecting coming into it.
Yeah, totally. Because, I mean, there's a lot of abstractions in this game.
Yeah.
You know, you're moving from one place, the colony, to one of 6 outer regions, but it's just a die roll and making sure there's an open space. It's very abstract.
Mm-hmm.
When you fight a zombie, as long as you have the die for it, you're going to kill that zombie.
Yep.
So there's a lot of abstractions, and the Crossroads really makes this the zombie game that it is. It makes it dangerous and bleak. It's very Walking Dead-ish with the story turns. Mm-hmm. Some of the Crossroads cards I have a lot of humor injected into them.
Yes.
Dark humor. There's at least one, we haven't seen them all, where the story detail and the 2 options you're presented with is very different, but the end result for both is the same, and it's bad.
And even comments on the card at the bottom is like, oh man, both options suck, or something like that on it.
And there's a lot of different ones. There's cards that might give you a character from the character deck, a specific one. There's ones where it's basically like another crisis you have to deal with, like soldiers come to your base. Yep. I like the crisis cards. Every round, your group has to deal with a whole new crisis, getting gas, getting food, building barricades, what have you, medicine. Mm-hmm. This not only puts more pressure into the game, which any co-op game needs that pressure to be good, but it also builds the trader part of the game. There's always that chance that you're playing with traders. And how does that even really matter? Well, it matters with the crisis.
Yes. Because
you're adding cards to solve the crisis, but you're adding them secretly. They get shuffled and they get revealed at the end of the round. And as soon as you see that someone put cards in there that don't help, you're like, there's the traitor. Or, which is also great, is everyone has a secret victory condition, and they're not all traitors. In fact, it's a pretty low chance of a traitor. Yeah. Like maybe one person is a traitor. But everyone has their own secret agenda that they have to satisfy to win along with the group objective.
Yes.
So maybe they're the junkie and they have to have 3 medicine, but the crisis is asking for medicine to be solved. Maybe they're like, oh man, I have this 3 medicine. This actually happened to me in one of our games. I don't want to give up any medicine. So maybe they're like, well, I'll put something else in so that everyone sees me put something else in. Yep. And then they'll go, traitor, and they can blame someone else, hopefully. So the crisis cards and the crossroad cards, I think, are really the big points where you feel the traitors and you feel the story come alive.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's a whole lot of abstractions. There are a lot of cool homages in the characters. Mm-hmm. There's one lady who's a cook, and her name is Loretta Clay, but we call her Carol because she's straight up Carol from Walking Dead, if you watch Walking Dead. There's this crazy drunk Santa that looks a little bit like Bill Murray, who actually will give the group a morale bonus if he's dead.
Yes.
Which is hilarious. And then I think your favorite is the stunt dog.
Oh, yes. Sparky.
Sparky the stunt dog, which, I mean, I think you had him the first game we played, right?
Yes.
And you had the junkie, coincidentally.
I was a junkie stunt dog. It was amazing.
And that's another abstraction, which I think when we played with some other people, they didn't quite get at first, is you have a secret agenda and you have characters. Well, the characters aren't really the ones with that secret agenda. The player is. So you have to imagine however that works for you. You're a behind-the-scenes guy, or you're a hive mind, or something, but you have a secret agenda. Your characters can die, and they will die.
Yes.
But you still have that secret agenda. You're going to get more characters. Dylan, what parts of the gameplay stood out for you?
Really, just the crossword cards.
You like the crossword cards?
Yeah, that's the only thing that really stood out. The rest I've pretty much seen before, like the searching and stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
What about the noise? I like the noise tokens.
Yeah, that was a cool thing because whenever you search, you're getting one card. All the noise does is give you more options, but it doesn't actually give you, like, you draw more, but you're only keeping one. And again, this is all done without anybody else seeing. So you could be like, oh man, there's no fuel. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm showing you 2 fuel cards. That's too bad. And you take this food card, which might be your gluttony objective or something like that. So the trader mechanic in it could be worked out even your secret agenda could be worked out beyond, just the actions you take here. What you're searching for, what you're doing, you can really go in on one place. You can only move once around. But if your character starts somewhere, you can just bang on all the walls, flip open everything, dig really deep in a deck, and then run. And then that area just gets swarmed with zombies. And you're like, well, it's going to be hard for anybody else to go there from now on, but that happens. It just has every time you play it, like Dylan was saying, there's not a lot of new, I think the new mechanic is the crossroads, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of new mechanics to it. In fact, I'd say this is kind of mechanic light.
It is.
What it is that between the crossroads and your personal goal, there's a story there. And I don't normally see it in this type of game where, like, I feel this borders on really, really light role playing in a way. Like, I mean, you have a little bit of you have some character goals, some personal goals that might not align with everybody else, but at the same time, you're fundamentally your team trying to do this one thing. So one of the games you played, I was the junkie. I had the junkie Sparky Dog. We lost. And we lost because Dylan had everything he needed to win. We had everything we needed to win as a team. We just had to make it one more round to make it happen. But Junkie little Sparky didn't have the drugs he needed. And I dug so deep in at the hospital looking for drugs that Sparky died. We got overran. We lost all the morale. We lost the game because of my junkie needs. And it was an interesting thing of playing the games. Like, I didn't want us to lose, but I didn't just want Dylan to win by himself. I had to win too. So, like, I cost us all the game for, like, my own selfish purposes, which fits kind of well in with the whole junkie concept. But it's that type of thing that I see in the game that, to me, adds that extra level of flavor kind of to it that just makes it beyond the simple mechanic-driven game that it is.
And add to that a huge number of playable characters, all with their own ability and different stats.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ton of variety. There's a ton of main objective cards, and they come in 2 flavors, a base and a harder version. Also, at the bottom of the card, it tells you kind of a rough estimate of game length. It'll be short, medium, or long, I believe. Just to give you an idea. So you could pick and choose. We've just been doing them in order. Yeah. But you can pick or choose. Well, let's just do a short game this time, or what have you. So I see a ton of replayability in this game. And I know they're going to do future Crossroads games in different genres. I think they've announced the next one's like space or a space station or something, which I could totally see creepy alien space station kind of thing happen and would be perfect for this general system as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move on. Let's talk art and component quality. What do you guys take on that?
The standees, do you like them?
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things that I think we both talked about at the beginning, like, where's the miniatures at? Like, this seems like it should be a miniatures game. I think the standees do a better job than a miniature does because they come fully illustrated, fully colored and everything, and they're cut out, and each one, like, they're all very dynamic in how they're posed and everything. I like them. I think, honestly, I like this better than I would have liked plastic miniatures because they'll all be the same color, they'd all blend together. This one, like, I can tell who's the sad, drunk Santa guy and who's the ninja guy here. Like, they look different. Yeah. And you wouldn't get that as much with just miniatures unless you took the time to paint them. And if I have to paint the miniatures in every game I buy, I'm never going to play any games. So for me, I really like that component. Everything else, completely serviceable. I don't want that sounds bad almost, but like the dice, there's a bunch of dice 6s. They're fine. The main die 12 is etched. It's going to be durable and stay a long time. First player marker you can stab people with is great. cards are nice quality. They're not exceptional, but they're thick, so they're good there. The main player board is good. I guess to split hairs, individual sections are thin card stock. So I guess if you want to complain, I mean, you can always find something, right? But overall, art is good. The graphic style is simple. There's basically like 6 icons in the game. They're all very clear and distinct that you use. I'm happy with the overall quality of it.
I am too. And when I had first seen previews of this game, first of all, it took a long time to get this game. This game was so hot that they sold out their print runs over and over again. I had to watch online daily to find one that wasn't marked up a bajillion %. And when we finally got one, I was so happy. But I was very leery because in the pictures of the standees, I'm thinking old Steve Jackson style, crappy thin cardstock standees. These are thick. They're nice. And the illustration work is all really good. You know, the character art is really good art. The board art is solid and conveys kind of this wintry, bleak image. Iconography is good, like you said. I'm going to ask you one, though, because this is one we've discussed multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So in the colony, you have 6 zones, numbered 1 through 6, where the zombies are trying to break into the colony. That's where you place the zombies. Each zone can hold 3 zombies. When you're placing new zombies in the add zombie step, you start with zone 1, add 1, go to zone 2, add 1, go to zone 3, and you go around. You're supposed to, if a zone is full, skip to the next available zone, and then once all the zones are full, if you can't place one, that's when the colony's overrun, somebody dies.
Mm-hmm.
This seemed to be a bigger deal for you than me,
yes.
But we're kind of struggling with why are there 6 zones of 3? Why isn't it like just
18?
A row of spots?
Yeah, maybe there's a rule we missed, but we've gone over this multiple times. Maybe there's other crises or something that show up because we haven't read through all the cards. But maybe someone says if zone 4 is full, something bad happens. But yeah, I don't know why it's broken up. Like it feels like there's a rule we missed. That's why it's bugging me so much because it's broken up into 6 locations and they're actually numbered 1 through 6. I'm like, well, if it's full, you just move on to the next one. Why are they broken up? So is there something we're missing? Are we not playing this game right? What's happening?
Thematically, on the board, they represent different entrances into the colony. So I get the thematic part of it. I just don't understand mechanically.
Yeah, mechanically, I don't know what it's for. So it's possible also expansions down the line. Again, a rule we missed, or some other crisis card or something that shows up that talks about those locations.
Right. Yeah, I think overall we're all pretty satisfied with the art and component quality. Yeah? All right. And it looks like with the player boards, or not the player boards, the location boards, they're thin and they're numbered. So I kind of feel like maybe they're going to add more, like in future expansions.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just probably swap them out or something.
Or add 2 more, or an out-of-town area or something. Yeah.
All right, enough of this. Let's go review this game. So this is me last year. Hey, did you hear Plaid Hat's doing a zombie game? Are you kidding me? Another zombie game? Cut to this year. Play Dead of Winter. Hey, this is a cool game. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy the Crossroads cards. This is a co-op game, or semi-co-op game. The closest analog to it I can see in current games is Robinson Crusoe. It has that kind of feel that I think they were called event cards in that game brought to the game. Well, the Crossroad cards in this game and the crises and things like that really kind of feel like that game. Also, Robinson Crusoe is a very difficult game. This is a very difficult game, which is perfect for engaging me when we were talking about co-op games. And it lends itself to a lot of replayability, tons of characters, tons of different missions, tons of secret objectives, the potential for traders. This game's a win-win, and I'm going to go ahead and say if you can find it, it's a must-buy.
Man, board games can't get zombies right now, can they? It's just really, Okay, let me just say it straight off the bat. I'm gonna give this game a like it. Okay, it's fun, but it has this real big problem with tone. Sparky the stunt dog here can't really go hand in hand with a Crossroads card that says you find a toddler in a dumpster. That just doesn't work. It doesn't seem like they really pay attention to what was supposed to be one of the big gimmicks for this game, which was how story driven it can be. But there is a major problem with tone. But also the components, the zombies. There's a lot of repeating character models. Like they couldn't design more, I guess, which is kind of annoying. Some of the characters are cool though. I like how they all have their own model and their own abilities. That's really cool. And the Crossroads cards that actually bring a pretty good new change to board games in general. And the action was fun, but sometimes turns could drag on in some of the bigger games that you could play. But yeah, all in all, this is a pretty okay game. So I'm gonna give it a like.
I'm going to give this one a love it. I've enjoyed it. I want to play it again and again. It's hard to get right now. It's probably really expensive, but I don't know if it's a must-buy today. But it's something that if you can get in your game group or maybe go hang out with a game group that has it, it's definitely worth the playthrough. It has a lot of dark elements to it, and then one very small bright spot in it, which I greatly enjoy. So I'm going to go with a love it.
I don't usually like zombie games, but this one went well for me. Tell me your favorite zombie or post-apocalyptic game in the comments below. Click on this ugly turkey to subscribe to our podcast. And thank you to these living people for helping out. Sunshine and rainbows.